From Patrick Cantlay passing up a $75 million offer, to Tiger Woods rejecting 10 times that amount, these are the pro golfers who will never join LIV Golf. The golf world has been tangled up in a complicated civil war ever since the Saudi-backed league started poaching players from the PGA Tour, but many pros have put prestige over profits. For starters, Patrick Cantlay refused to be bought for $75 million. He's been under scrutiny as of late after he lost the Ryder Cup in Italy back in 2023, but this is a guy who spent 55 weeks as the top-ranked golfer in the world. That's a record that's bound to fetch a pretty penny, but to his credit, Cantlay decided that the money wasn't worth it. He's emerged as one of the most prominent golfers to kiss the PGA ring and swear loyalty to this nearly 100-year-old organization, and he didn't mince words when he explained the reasoning behind his choice. He's gone on record to say he'll never head to Saudi Arabia and subtly commented that only a certain type of player would accept the massive payday that LIV Golf offers. Now, you might say that he's a member of the PGA Tour Policy Board, so accepting an offer from a rival league would have been a bad look. But Cantlay claims that he received offers before he ever joined the board. He sees his position as a big responsibility, one that he takes very seriously indeed. And he's spoken out about how determined he is to give PGA players the representation they deserve. Cantlay is definitely not alone in his opposition to LIV Golf, but there have been cracks in the dam, so to speak. Just for example, Rory McIlroy was once the biggest critic of LIV Golf out there, but he shocked everyone by departing from the board and softening his stance. As of now, his new position is that a merger is the only way to move forward. And he's gone so far as to defend PGA Commissioner Jay Monahan after he came under fire for the proposition. You might think that other LIV Golf critics would be warming up to the idea as well, but there are plenty more that won't touch the rival league with a 10-foot pole. Like, remember when Rickie Fowler was rumored to be the next domino to fall? He jumped a whopping 100 places to crack the top 15 in the FedEx Cup standings after a phenomenal 2023 season. And with the golden number 14 next to his name, a fat wad of cash seemed to be right around the corner. When he arrived in Hawaii to start 2024 at the Century, everyone noticed that his outfit was missing the logos of a couple longtime sponsors, namely Farmers Insurance and Rocket Mortgage. The rumor mill immediately started churning, with some wondering if this was a sign that the pro was thinking of making a change. It turns out that LIV Golf offered the pro $85 million to join their ranks, but luckily for PGA fans, Rickie wasn't having any of it. The sponsorship logos were missing simply because the contracts expired, and if we take Rickie at his word, he has zero plans to go anywhere. Cantlay has been a big part of his decision to stay, because the two pros spent a lot of time together during the off-season, and they're basically on the same page. Rickie's also aware of how much work the big-name players at the PGA Tour are putting into the fight against LIV, and as someone who was on the Player Advisory Council last year, loyalty matters to him. What this means is that no matter how much LIV is willing to pay, it's pretty doubtful that Rickie will join their roster. As for how all of this will work after the potential merger, that remains to be seen. The negotiations are ongoing, and there's still a long way to go before either side can come to an agreement. So the position that Rickie Fowler and others have taken will be set in stone for the time being. During this exhaustive process, LIV likely won't be making any more offers, because that might derail all the hard work they've done to bring PGA to the negotiating table. But then again, the league has a reputation for getting what it wants. There are plenty of examples of golfers rejecting their proposal, only for the PGA to offer something far more substantial to sweeten the pot. Just take a look at what they offered Will Zalatoris. The Saudi-backed circuit offered him a healthy $35 million. And when Will turned them down, they upped the offer by an eye-watering $100 million. To be clear, the final contract would have been worth $135 million. That still wasn't enough to convince Zalatoris, though, with the golfer saying that he never seriously entertained the offer in the first place. He doesn't hold anything against the players who accepted the money, but Zalatoris claims that he's not in it for the riches. In his own words, if he truly cared about money, he would have become an investment banker instead of a golfer. His main goal is to win one of the 4 major trophies, which points to a huge factor that's convincing many players to steer clear of LIV. You see, despite all the money the league's offering, anyone that participates might not be eligible for majors anymore. It's professional golf, that much is certain. But with just 54 holes a game and no cuts to speak of, many are saying that LIV players shouldn't be granted any OWGR points. That also explains why some of the players heading to LIV are a bit long in the tooth. Like Anthony Kim came out of retirement to participate in LIV. Cause with such short games, it's practically a glorified vacation. Ambitious players will want the glory and the trophies, and no amount of money will compensate for that. Of course, many will decide to just throw caution to the wind and accept the cash. But the number of players that refuse to join LIV point blank just goes to show that there's more to life than money. There are a few surprise defectors though, such as Jon Rahm. Rumors about him leaving PGA Tours had been circling for months, but he straight up denied them on social media. Imagine how surprised fans were when the news finally broke out. Maybe John changed his mind after the Saudis added another zero to his payday, cause he was apparently offered $400 million. Entire corporations are sold for that much money, so you can see why the guy caved. When he was asked about the sudden 180, John gave some pretty bland statements about doing what's best for his family, and that he somehow grew to like the LIV brand. That might make you think that other golfers will accept the money and leave the PGA behind as well, but it's not quite so cut and dry. I mean, there's one guy that LIV Golf reportedly offered a staggering amount of money, a sum that only the best of the best can command, but the proposal was met with a cold shoulder. I'm talking about the one and only Tiger Woods, who was offered 10 times what Patrick Cantlay's contract was worth. Yup, you heard that right. According to Greg Norman, former #1 golfer and current CEO of LIV Golf Investments, Tiger could have earned $700 to $800 million if he agreed to play in the league. Just for context, his net worth is about $1.1 billion. So he had the chance to nearly double his net worth overnight. The Great White Shark said that this offer was made before his tenure as CEO began in 2021, so Tiger was probably one of the first golfers that LIV approached. Now, I should mention that Majid Al Sarur, the CEO of the Saudi Golf Federation, suggested that this was a bit of an exaggeration. He claims that it wasn't $800 million in cold hard cash, but considering the ridiculous contracts signed by other players worth hundreds of millions, it doesn't seem out of the question. All of that's beside the point anyway, cause Tiger didn't sign with them. He has some fundamental differences of opinion with Phil Mickelson, which means that there's no chance of him heading to Saudi Arabia anytime soon. Back in 2022, he said that the PGA Tour is the best place to play. And since he's a man who loves the game down to his very core, he won't give up his lifetime loyalty to the league for any amount of money. It's not just blind loyalty either, because Woods thinks that all of the best players are sticking around at the PGA, and he wants to face them in every competition. As it currently stands, LIV Golf is having a lot of trouble recruiting certain players, and that might take some of the wind out of its sails. Will the rival leagues merge, or will one of them come out on top? It's crazy to think that LIV might surpass the iconic PGA Tour, but anything can happen. So from Tiger Woods rejecting $800 million to Patrick Cantlay's refusal to sign, these were the pro golfers who will never join LIV Golf.